G'day and welcome back for more Starship EVO. At the end of the last video, I was heading to space to try and get some resources from these asteroids, which I'm probably going to continue to do, even though it's probably not a great idea. I'm missing two key things to make this a safe journey. One, as you can see, I forgot to build the helmet that I talked about, which isn't ideal. And two, I have no marker, no antenna for my base. But I am confident that it's down there on that little stretch of land there, and this crater is pretty distinct. So as long as I can remember where that is, we should be fine. And those of you who know anything about my sense of direction, don't you be laughing now. I'm sure it will actually probably totally not be a disaster. It'll be fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head into the asteroid field and get some sunstone. And we'll also get a bit of a feel for how this mining ship is going to perform, and I think it's going to perform pretty poorly. But that'll give me some ideas on how to improve it and change it up when we get back down to the planet. Because we're going to get this sunstone, make the better drives that allow us to go even faster, and then we can do more things and make this bigger and make it better. One of the things that I'd really like to do is improve the cockpit, because right now it's incredibly difficult to get in and out of. It is very, very awkward. Once we get to the asteroid field, scanning these is just like scanning on the surface. Press V and you get the pulse scan. Except this time, what I'm looking for is going to be some yellow crystal symbols. Looks a bit like the crystal symbol for the silicon ones, except yellow, rather than white, or grey. Is that one there? That's one there. There we go. Spotted one. Okay, zap, zap, zap. Then hope that my collectors will collect it. This is an issue with my collector design. Come on, get in there. Get in the collector. No, not in the middle. No. Okay, this is gonna be tricky. I don't have much air when I get outside. Has it already disappeared? Did I get it? Did I get the stone? No! Yes! I got the sunstone. It appeared on my hopper. Okay, so that's one of the issues I've got to fix with this system. Having two collectors that are separated like this means that the stuff that you collect ends up hovering in the middle. And that's something I hadn't really anticipated when I designed this. So I think what I'm going to do is, try not to die. Oh, come on. Oh, she's rising. Whew. And that's why I need a helmet. Okay. So let's have a look underneath without being out there suffocating in space. I think what I need to do is make the collector bigger, which means just to match it, I'll make the laser bigger and then we'll just have one of each underneath. And that should hopefully improve the collection dramatically. But still need to find more sunstone. I think I need at least 4 to be able to build the light drive engine. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to turn off one of these collectors so it doesn't have any range. Hopefully that's going to make this work a bit better. Before I suffocate. Eep. Health is down to half. Okay. Hopefully that's the fix. It's still going to be a small collector, but at least with it being just one, they're not going to be fighting each other over every little scrap that I mine. So it looks like I should have enough sunstone after just this asteroid, so hopefully that means I haven't had to go too far afield in order to get this so that I can still find my way home. Okay, let's just check the cargo, make absolutely sure we're good. 13. Ah, sweet. Close the door. Let's head on home. Now, speaking of where home is, where is home? Looking for that big, there it is. So there's our crater that's nearby, and this is where home is. But you can see, if I hadn't taken note of that before I came up to space, there was a very real chance I would have had no idea where to go, and my best shot of finding my way home would have been reviewing my own recorded footage to try and see whether I'd looked back and spotted where my home was. If you are having trouble finding your home, when you get to about the cloud height, you can press V and your old markers will show up like this. So you can see it from a decent altitude and scan a little bit more easily from up here to try and find your way back home. That's one issue with that is one issue with my design. This door that opens downwards does have a tendency to roll the vehicle when I open it. It's possible a redesign from scratch might be in my best interests. But we've got the important resources. The ship has served an important need. Let's grab all these out of here. Now, one thing I hadn't realized in the previous video is that stone can actually be processed into silicon as well. 8 stones per 1 silicon ingot, which is really handy. Before I scrap this, let's test a few different styles of this collector setup. Because what I'm thinking is big is better, and let's start with that. I'll pop the existing ones off, get rid of their conveyor systems. So what I've done is I've placed this wall here because when we get out our laser and we size it up, it only places against the back surface. So I needed this back surface so I could place it here. And similarly, the collector does that as well. So if I want it lined up, I need to do here. Then all I got to do is conveyor this up. And now let's give this a try. This should be better. So for the laser, I got to make sure the yoke is still connected to my event controller, to my event gate, and then my event gate links to my laser. Let's test this just on this rock here. Since we need some more silicon, it's not going to be a bad way to get it. You can already see the massively increased power on this collector as these multiple rocks get pulled towards it. One's just sitting on the surface. Let's drill this rock and see what happens. Oh, that is going so much better. Holy cow, that is going so much better. As long as I keep it relatively stable while they're getting pulled in, it seems to pick them up pretty well. So there we go. Theory confirmed, to some extent at least. There's still a bit of a technique to figure out so that I can get this to collect properly, but it's not too bad. I'm probably going to need a bunch of iron, so let's also go and grab some scrap from this with it. We'll see how we go with this collection. So we got, wow, 97 rock. Ah, it might have been full. So I may have wasted some of that scrap. That's unfortunate. Oh no, there's more in here. That's another good thing about having the bigger one. The bigger the collector, the more storage capacity it has as well. So you gain a lot from that. So I'm going to put this scrap in here so that we can get some iron ingots. And I'm going to put this stone in here so we can get some more silicon. That's going to help doing this rebuild of my ship. So, back to the important tasks of let's get an antenna made, and then we'll go and collect some cobalt. Find some cobalt on the surface here and use our fancy miner to do that. But I also think what I should do is perhaps make another assembler. Because it's pretty slow, but also another arc furnace, because that's not so quick. And maybe increase the scale of my little facility here so that it can produce stuff a bit quicker and I can make the materials a little faster than I have been. Where is solar panel? Guess we're going to need a lot more power. One thing I haven't tried this on is trees. How does it go versus a tree? Not bad. There's a quick way to chop down a tree. It's an interesting challenge using this on the planet because you've got gravity pulling stuff one way, the collector pulling it the other, and at some point the collector just seems to be like, yeah, I'm not going to keep pulling, I'm just going to let it go. So I'm sort of like trying to grab what I can, and then it lets it go. Then I move around again, and I grab again, and it, yeah, I haven't quite figured out the best rhythm of it yet, but I'm getting there. Although this doesn't turn out to be much of a spaceship, this is not a bad little atmospheric miner. It's certainly going to save me a lot of time getting the resources I need for a bigger ship. Grab our little antenna, pop it down here. Now, it's going to be a lot harder to get lost, because when you get far enough from the base, this puts a giant white beam into the sky that you can find. The added production of those is a big improvement, and because I'm sick of the sound of this, I'm going to get rid of my wind turbine. If I'm building wind turbines in the future, they're going a long way from anywhere I habitate. Solar panels instead. Aha! I healed myself in the medbay. That'll give me room to be, to suffocate a little bit more in space. But, to prevent that happening, let's make a helmet. I'm gonna choose, let's go this one. We'll get that made, and then I will put that in my suit. slot up there, and now I have a helmet for space, which I can see if I pop it on and off. Cool, so that's done, the antenna's done. Now I just need to make a better spaceship. For this new ship, I'm gonna begin from the mining beam. I'm actually gonna start from the mining collection system and then build the rest of the ship kind of around that as the core part, because I think that's gonna help me get the scale and positioning of things right, and then eventually be able to work on a door and a cockpit that I can move into and out of without having to clip through everything. Might be nice to also have a med bay on board this ship, so that when I go exploring, I can respawn at my ship rather than back down here and never be able to find it again. So we'll get collectors and mining lasers, and we'll probably need a whole bunch of storage containers as well. So as you may have noticed, today is a bit more of me discovering things than me just going through as a tutorial, and that's because I spent a lot of time learning the first bit of the game, but I haven't had as much time to explore this, and I'm really looking forward to exploring a bit more. So if you've got any extra tips that you notice that you think might be useful to me as I'm gradually learning my way through this, please do share them, as I'd love to keep getting better at this and know as much as I can. Oh, I think I know why this is pulsing. I think it's pulsing because the collector gets full. I wonder if that could be improved by putting a larger conveyor between the collector and the cargo container. Wow, that filled up really quickly. That means the collector's full too. Yeah, okay. Good to know. So it certainly does auto shut off. So that makes me even more suspicious that the reason I have that pulsating collection is that the collector keeps getting full. Now, I was just going to go check something out that I saw when I started flying here, which is this crashed ship here. And there are crashed ships all over the surface. Some bigger than others. As you can see, this one is tiny, but if you do run out of scrap on your main ship, this can be another way of getting some more scrap material available to you. Now obviously this isn't going to get collected by my collector, but I can pop out there and grab this scrap if I wanted to. But it seems like there are a few crashed ships around the place that should supply you with a little bit of scrap to get going if you end up having some troubles and have run out of— whoa, that was a tree. That was the top of the tree. Oh, I don't even know where I was going anymore. Alright, so I've got my new mining beam. I've got my new collector. Let's start my new ship. Using frameworks like these just so that I can put the blocks where I want them to go. Because with our mining lasers, these can go up to big size, but I think that's possibly too big for me to build from now. I was thinking do something like this. A pair of mining lasers like this, and then next to it, we'll get our pair of collectors. Now I'm hopeful that having the two collectors next to each other won't create the same problem that I had before, with the collectors fighting each other. But because I can't drag the shape out, I can't really get a bigger collector otherwise. So I was thinking something like that. I'll have a cockpit off to the side here, something that I can look across and see what's happening with the collector. Let's get the position of my seat right, and then I can work most things around that. So if I'm sitting in this seat, I'm looking around, yeah, I can see comfortably to where the collector's working. Cool. So what I'm thinking of for this design is the functional cargo reactors and stuff will be along this side of the ship. That'll be this left half, and then the living space, med bay, the rooms that I can move around in will be on this side. So what I want to decide first is, do I want to have doors entering from the side, or the rear, or the top? I think the side could look cool. And what I'm thinking is something that's like a gull wing opening up, hinged up door. Oh, the Celeste. Life support failure. Oxygen levels low. I should probably go try and help that. I could... Whoa! Flinging scrap all over the place. I could just quickly make this functional for it. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. Alright. What's my quickest way to make this airtight and usable? Guess I could just shove the door back in. Where's my door? I'm gonna need my light cruise engines. Time to become a hero! There we go. One door that I can't close from inside the seat. Oh. Hang on. Hang on. I've got an idea on how to make this a bit easier to use. Alright. It shouldn't take me too long. It shouldn't delay me going up and rescuing them. So what I need is, I need a switch. I need a pair of buttons. I need a logic gate. Yes. I need a logic gate. And that should be it. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to set up a way for this door to be opened from sitting in the seat, open and closed. With a door or any other mechanism, you can access it by just pressing F directly on it, and that'll move it. Or you can link it up to a switch. So if we hook a switch up, grab our link tool, and link it up with a switch, it'll activate on each switch of the switch, and it'll change state. If instead of a switch, we would use a button... Oh, really need to turn that collector off. Keep stealing everything. So if we were to use a button, we can link it up to the door, and if you press the button, it'll open, but it'll close as soon as you release the key. So it's not particularly useful, but we can make a button useful. So the way we're going to do that is I'm going to remove that button. Oh, and now this collector's stealing my button. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up a switch, set up a button, put the button over here where it can be easily accessed. And now, if we grab our link tool, our button can be connected to our switch can be connected to the door, and then when we hit the button, it's going to change the state of the switch, which is going to change the state of the door. So that means we can have buttons that do this. But what I want is a button outside and a button inside. If I set a button inside, hopefully somewhere that I can reach from the seat, and try and drag that to connect to our switch, it's not going to work. What we need is a logic gate in between these two. So I'll pop the logic gate down, and we're happy with an OR because I want either button to be able to change the state of this switch. So then we go back to our link tool, and instead of linking this button to the switch, we'll remove that. We're going to link it to our logic gate. Then we're going to link this button to our logic gate. Then our logic gate can be linked to the switch, a switch to the door. Whoops, just undid the switch to the door. Let's redo that. And now, either button will control the door. So that's going to make it easier to get in and out of the cockpit because I can do this, hop in the chair, pop that button, close the door, and then take control of the ship. Similarly, when I exit, I can open the door. Can't quite go and rescue this yet. What I need to do now is get these light cruise engines. I would be worried about symmetry, except I know I'm going to be removing these in a minute. So I'm just going to place them and it'll be fine. These need to be connected with pipe to my fuel supplies. So that's piped up to that one. That's piped up to that one. And now it's time for me to go rescue the Celeste. Close my door. Take control. Let's go. So I can activate cruise, and my top speed is going to be somewhere around 200 meters a second. Or I can activate light cruise, and off we go. 1 kilometer per second. 2 kilometers a second. The further you get away from the planet, the faster you can go with this. So as we move further out into the asteroid field, we should start going faster and faster. But looks like we're not going to have to go too much further because the ship we need to rescue is just up ahead. Or not. Looked like the marker was drifting, so I was like, oh, I must be close. But no, I think it might be over with that other planet. So I'm going to have a long way to go back home. I hope I have enough fuel to make this work. 15 kilometers per second. 18. 20. Let's have a look at the planet receding behind us. My helmet is on. This is good. What's our speed? 78 kilometers per second. Seems like I might be tapped out at 80. There's something I can see there. Oh, I think that's the Stargate. We can swing by that on the way back. Assuming this rescue isn't a trap. It could be a trap. If it's a trap, we're... Uh-oh. So, target. Celeste. Whoa, oops. Oh, Celeste looks kind of cool. Now I should be able to, now that I've got it selected, press F. And we can do accept rescue. And I probably should have accepted that before I flew over here. So now we can do mission, send 10 liters of oxygen. because I can send it from my ship directly. We were facing disaster. Your arrival was a blessing. That ship looks a lot cooler than mine. Also a lot bigger. I got some money, I guess that is, and some task force reputation. Bye, ship. I'm sure that tumbling's normal and totally not bad. This thing must be enormous given the speeds I'm going at and the... It's not a Stargate. It's a ring world. That makes so much more sense. Those are big lights. Cool. Now where the heck's my planet? This one. Time to head on home. I am not looking at my fuel reserves because I'm just going to hope for the best. If I get stranded in the distance between the two planets, so be it. Ah, I was about to say, where's my base? It's over this way. So glad I put the antenna on before I flew away that far away. Well, that was a fun little interlude, and back to designing the ship. I wonder if I'll get more missions before I get this ship finished. I would like to not have to. Oh, how much fuel did I use? 114 litres left. I think they have about 300 litres capacity, these ones. So that's not a trip I can make again until I refuel. I'm going to need to work out how to do some sort of display for how much fuel I've got left, because otherwise I'm going to run into problems. I've been fiddling around with the design a little bit. I've moved to double collectors over here, which will hopefully be alright, and double lasers down here, because I didn't really need those paired together, and honestly, the rounded chamfered edges of the mining lasers didn't sit, to me, visually nicely next to the very square edge, which is still chamfered a bit, but the very square edge of the collectors. So having a pair of those that I can still see comfortably from this seat, although the seat might have to move a little bit, but I still should be able to see reasonably well. And then a cargo container that's immediately behind it. Put a pair of big tanks like this, and where have I got my thrusters? No, do that. I actually kind of like that. Oh, yes! I just had a great idea, I think. I've been thinking of doing a gull wing door here on the side. What if it opens in two parts? The top part opens up, but the bottom part opens and becomes a ramp or stairs for me to drop down. Oh, I'm kind of liking this idea. All right. While I'm thinking about it, and so I don't forget about it later, I'm going to put a fuel line between these two tanks. All right, so the entryway should probably be somewhere around the middle. Build up this wall. I'm going to try and rough this thing out, knowing full well every single bit of what I'm placing down is going to be removed later, but so that I've actually got a bit of a clearer idea in my head of the shape. I find that that's particularly helpful when you're starting out with a new game that you haven't built in much and trying to learn new systems. Like this stretching of blocks is something I've only really messed with in Avorion, and in it you don't have to have walkable spaces. Everything is just kind of, it exists. So I'm thinking the shape of the side is not going to be this horrible flat horribleness, and I'll try and put a bit of a curvature on that side too. So if I rough that out on this piece, I can then match the door to the approximate shape that I've got here. All right, let's get some mechanical blocks and see which ones are going to work best here, because we've got a few options of ways we can open this door. I want this to have some angular momentum to it, which means I've got either the hinge or the join arm or the rotator. I think hinges are going to be my best shots. Let's make a pair of those. And we'll see if we can get these set in such a way that the door mechanism can actually work and we can make this space airtight. And while that's being made, I'm going to fiddle around with the remainder of the armor and see what I can do here. Okay, that's... I don't hate this style of glass on the cockpit. Certainly makes it feel nice and open. I'm sitting in this seat. I can see the collectors, but I was kind of hoping to look back at the collectors rather than seeing them at the front, so maybe I need to move this glass a bit further forward. One thing I am noticing as I do this decoration, start to build this is starting to look like a little toad. It's a very round shape, and it is just making me think of a toad. One of the downsides of the stretching blocks is that when you need to remove just a single piece of one, you have to remove the whole thing and redo that whole block. It's a small price to pay, but it is something that's certainly means you got to think about things a little bit differently. With a 7 block wide opening for the door, we can put the hinge dead center, and then I'll build up around it Now I need some glass pieces. So to make the top of the door one single piece, pop 2 on like that. Drag that along to the end, and then we can place the one underneath. Pop both those off. Ah, it's stuck on the blocks I just placed. Well, we'll remove those and replace them with a slope. And now check if it works. Yeah. And then for this top part of the door, what I'll do is I'll drag out some 2x1 slopes and give myself a little bit of a window for the top half. All right, so that's the rough shape I was going for. Let's see if this all looks okay. We go -90. Yeah. If I'm honest with myself, the entire design of this ship is around the fact that I wanted to have this style of door. Once I thought of this door, I was like, yes, we're doing it that way. I don't care what else. It's going this way. So that's that top part done. Now let's get the bottom bit. This top part, it can move through just 90 degrees and that's fine. This bottom one, on the other hand, it actually needs to rotate through about 130 degrees, something like that. So I need to orientate the hinge a little bit differently. How am I going to get this hinge to place, like, to move? I might actually have to go with a rotor on this one. I can pop out that piece, make a little spot for it in that little space there. Okay, so I've got slopes and slopes. Let's see, 90, 135. Oh, okay, that doesn't work. That looks terrible. Although, what if I did that? Is that going to be closable? Or is that just going to be too bulky? I feel like maybe it needs to be a slope. Put that back to 0. And it can close, so that's good. 120. So that's 120, and this one at 90. Nope, -90. Yeah. Cool. I like that. If I get more advanced and more fancy with these as time goes on, I might even try and make this have a hinge in the middle of this door so it can fold out 2 bits and then it literally can be a proper ramp to get on board. But I think looking the part is good enough for now. To set it up so that it can be actually controlled easily with a button, gonna need a button on the outside, button on the inside. There's a part of me that wants to inset that button, but I'm gonna leave it for now. Then we're going to need a switch so that we have an on and an off state. We need to be able to relay the button signals to that switch so that 2 things can input to it, which is the logic gate. And we also need something to tell that rotator where its on and off states are, which is what this sequencer gate is for. So now we're going to link all this up. So I'm going to start with my buttons. They're going to both go to my OR gate here. So when either of them is clicked, it'll work. These are then going to link to my switch. My switch is going to link to the sequencer gate. The sequencer gate is going to link to this rotor, and the switch is also going to link to this hinge. So for the rotator, it goes button, OR gate, switch, sequencer gate, rotator. And then on the sequencer gate, you can see that you have an off state and an on state. It's off state in this case because the switch is set to off. I'm going to hope is 120 and the on state is 0. We'll see if that works. So I press the button. That closes. And that opens. Okay. These might be the wrong way around. Off state 0. On state 120. And you might have noticed that while I was messing around with this, that the top half is kind of overshooting. And that's because I also need a sequencer gate for it, because it needs to control its angles a bit better. Get that built and disconnect its logic for the moment. So that means switch to hinge gets removed. And pop another sequencer gate in, link it up. So switch to sequencer gate to hinge. Off state is 90, on state is 180. So you might have to fiddle around until you get the angles that you're after, but there we go. For me, it was 90 to 180 are the angles that I wanted. And now my door buttons should work perfectly. And we have a nice complex but fun door. Now I can set the speed on this one so it opens at the same speed as the other one. We'll go 65, see if that's about right. Yeah, that's good enough. Oh, I'm really happy with that. Really happy with that. Yeah. Cool. All right, let's get the rest of this cockpit built. Because this ship is actually not too far from being usable. I think I've got this space airtight. I should probably test that before I get too excited. And since this one's no longer going to go to space, I can remove its life support. So it's obviously going to say leak while the door's open. And once the door's closed, I think it's still going to say leak. Because as things are at the moment, the life support checks whether an area is airtight once a mechanism starts, not when it finishes. So I need it to test when it finishes. Although I just noticed it just tested when I used the link tool on it. But what I'm thinking is maybe if I put a switch on it, I can get it to change and do a check by closing the door, and then I can switch it back on when I get inside. Something like that. Then I link that switch to this device. If I turn it off, we open the door, close the door, turn it on. O2 rising, because that's when it's going to check as it goes on. So the way that airtightness is checked in this, we can see by clicking on our life support. You can see that it gradually creates this volume trying to search for a way it can leak. And if we open the doors, it instantly will find a leak as it gets to that point, and then it gets to outside. Nice little system here so that we can just make it, force it to check when we need it to check, and be able to turn it off when we don't need it on. Cool. So we've got life support, we've got a pressurized cockpit. I'm going to need to make the yoke, obviously, and I'm going to need to build the computer. With this much extra space inside, I should be able to make little cupboards for all my logic circuits and stuff like that, which I think would be cool. But now I need to figure out what I'm going to do at the back end here with my thrusters and with my reactors. I'm thinking what I'll do is place a reactor like that, another one next to it, same size, like so, and then we're going to use hoses to pipe from our tank into this. But I want to see if I can find a nice spot to connect these hoses so that I can have more of them than are required, but have them look cool. So maybe something like this, where we place the ends of the hoses and then you link them with the link tool. The direction that that goes, that's how the hose is going to look. So that's probably not what I wanted. Maybe it's best to just do this with pipes. So I was thinking of doing something like this, where I would just have a whole bunch of pipes along here. Thought it could be cool to be doing it with hoses, but I think pipes might actually be the better shot. At some point, having my reactors on the outside of my ship may prove to be a big mistake, but I'm not worrying about combat just yet. I don't think I'm going to be ready for combat for a little while. Or maybe I'll just go heavy on shields so I can have all of the fancy stuff on the outside and I don't care anymore. It's so chubby. I love it. I thought I was going to go for something less chubby than my previous design, but no. Oh, right. I've actually got more of these. They don't need to be on this one anymore. So I've made a bit of a thruster pack at the back. We'll see how much how much more thrust I end up needing. But hopefully between those light drive engines and the side thrusters here and things, we'll do okay. These are reasonably deep, so I'm hopeful that this will work well enough. This obviously needs a paint job, and it will get one soon, but before I do that, I would like to set up controls. And from first person, view is good. Visibility is great. I can't actually see my collectors, which was one of the goals of this setup. Can't see them perfectly, but I still can see pretty well. My field of view is not bad. Well, I guess it works now, so let's give it a test flight. How fast does she go? Oh, I should probably close the door. Now, there is some method to making this thing stay hovering, even when I hop out of the seat, and I haven't figured it out yet. Okay, so I'm going to hop back in this seat, and I noticed something when I was trying to fly before, which is, if I control this, and then press F4, my camera is not in a great spot. So what I need to do is hop out of control, hop out of the seat, press tab, and we can adjust these positions. For my camera position, it was 1 and 1 that seemed to work best. So my remaining things that I need to do are paint this thing and add some solar panels. Just so I can get a little bit of charge when it's just sitting somewhere. And kind of just as a just in case. So I was thinking solar panel across there. Sneak one in this gap here. So it's not much, but it's something. I could do the same down the side here because I've left the right sized gaps. Oh yeah. So what I want to do is have a monitor for my hydrogen and a monitor for my oxygen that are visible from my seat. I think 2 monitors like that. All you have to do is spread them out and then you link them to the device you want them to monitor. And in this case, I'm just going to monitor one of the tanks. Let's see if it'll let me monitor more. Oh, it's upside down. Of course it is. Yeah, can only monitor one device at a time. Let's see if this is upside down as well. I presume it will be. Yeah. All right. Pop you out. Try again. Oxygen. Hey, and hydrogen. So I've now got a fuel gauge. And if I sit in my seat, admittedly I do have to look to the side, but not too bad. With painting in Starship EVO, you paint per block. But while you are limited to painting all sides of a block at once, what you can do is add decals. So there are decals you can add to any block. There are a whole bunch of them under the decals option here. And you can stack them on top of each other as well. So say I didn't just want this arrow there, maybe I wanted a background for it. So I'll place that one down. Then I could put the chevron because it'll fit within it. Then I can grab my paints and go, we'll paint that black, we'll paint that yellow, and that might make it stand out a bit more. And you can remove the color from it by right-clicking. You can remove the decals just by right-clicking on them. But I thought it might be nice to have these little arrows either side on the door so that you can see which way it's going to open as a little detail. But the other nice thing that you can do with them is hazard stripes wherever you want them to add extra little details. My shuttle is pretty bland for color, and I'm trying to think of where I want to add the extra splash of color. Oh, yeah, the yellow on the solar panels actually kind of works. This painting stage is where I find myself splitting up blocks into smaller and smaller chunks so that I can paint exactly where I want to. So let's have a feel of top speeds. There are a few more things I need to add to this, one of which is lighting. But I want to get a feel of how quickly this thing can move. Oh, it's a bit slower than my other one. That's not great. Alright, so let's get some lights on here. I want to put some floodlights pointing forward, or at least a floodlight pointing forward. I'm thinking one just here. And you can stretch these out. And I'm not sure what impact it has. I think it has an impact on how bright it is. Or how far out the kind of volumetric beam goes. So I'm going to place a pair of them there and we'll see how that looks once I get to space where it can actually be a bit darker. And then I need some other lights. I need some interior lights because it's very dull in here without it. Okay, one light inside. We got the spotlights on the front. But otherwise, I'm pretty happy with how this is going. Not sure I'm sold on my yellow dimples on the side. But I'm going to leave them for a little bit and see if they grow on me. It's just trying to see if I could get something that would look interesting. Like it a bit more now. I haven't played many games that give me decals to play with, so this is a new playground for me. Sweet. All right, we got a shuttle, and a shuttle that is going to hopefully function better than the last one. Need to grab some more iron to finish off what I'm making. So let's give this a little bit of a flight test. Okay, there's some iron down here. That might be an issue. I think they doubled their force. So it shot over the top of the ship instead of going into the... Okay. Okay. I think I have an idea of how to fix this issue. So I think what's happening is the double collectors both are applying force to the things that I'm trying to collect. But what I should do is maybe just turn off the pull range on the lower one and just have the top one pulling in, but have them all able to collect. All right, now that we got that set up, let's see if it works a little bit better this time. See if I can stop all the iron from going straight over my head. It's not shooting over me this time, so that's a bonus. Collect my convenient cargo. Ah, so much better. So the collectors being on whenever I'm at base is kind of not ideal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to link this switch to both of my collectors so that I don't have to manually turn them off anymore. And now whenever the switch is in its off state, so we go on, you can see that they're collecting. Then we turn it off, and they'll go red. So that should make it much better for when I'm at home. One of the interesting things to note with thrusters, and a few other blocks I think, is that as you scale them up, to get a particular size of block, you actually use fewer of the thruster blocks. So I can place 2 giant ones like that, but if I scale it down because I'm like, oh, that's a bit too long, and go with this size, I don't actually have enough to match what I had before. It uses more blocks. I kind of want it to stop there anyway, so I'm going to rip this one off, and I need more than what I have to get there, because I need another 2 at this scale, and I don't have enough. So it's an interesting thing to have to deal with and work around, is that if you're going to make things small, if you're going to make things using small blocks, you're going to need a lot more of the blocks to fill the space. What I don't know is if a small block thruster at the same size will give the same thrust output as a big thruster at that size. Let's see if this feels a bit faster. Yes. Yes, it does. Yeah, that's getting up to 160 meters a second, where before I upgraded these, there was nowhere near that. Cool, I'm much happier with that speed. Still might not be... Oh! Especially if I run into everything. It still might not be as quick as my little one, but given the extra capacity that this has, I'm more than happy to give up a little bit of speed. With that done, I'm half tempted to pack up this whole base into my ship. And pack up this ship. Like, just grab everything, put it all into my cargo, and find myself a new home. Oh, before I get too excited with that, no, there is something else I need to do. Oh. Noticed it as I looked over to the side and saw my medical room over here. I need a medical room on my little ship. If I'm going to pack everything up, I absolutely need somewhere to respawn. And let's check if I've got all the necessary materials to make one of those. Gold, silver contact mesh, computers. Yeah, I should do. Alright, medbay. Please tell me you can fit. Yay! Phew. Didn't actually test that. Use medbay. Scan to respawn at this medbay next time you die. There we go. Now obviously, that means this ship does not get into combat. And I kind of like the idea of this gradually growing and getting bigger and bigger as it becomes my base. So I can expand this to include production facilities and things like that. Especially since I've got the door. Because it should be a fairly easy ship for me to extend lengthways, then start making it into maybe an H shape with the cargo in the middle, that sort of thing. And it can grow and grow and grow. And I just accidentally ripped up the bits that we're going to mark where this is, so that's not ideal. We'll fix that. Need 1 battery spot, need 1 antenna spot, and we do want some solar panels. Cool, that's it. That's all that needs to be here. I'll pop these out, and we'll just leave that much there. What I'm unsure about is whether it makes sense for me to take all this apparatus from here to potentially set it up on a new world, or do I need to, should I make new ones and leave this here as an emergency? I feel like I should just take it with me, because the chances of me coming back here are hopefully quite low. Alright, so looking at my fuel gauges, we've got hydrogen a little bit above half, and oxygen is obviously full. Close the door. Activate my life support. Up in my chair. And we're going to space. This time, we're staying. Yes! Look at that. Oh, nice. I'm quite happy with this little design. It is super boxy, but it's... I still kind of like it. It's hard to be anything but boxy when 90% of the volume of your ship is a box you're meant to walk around in. That's just how it goes. Is that something in the crater, or is that something on the far side of it? Let's try light cruise. Your light cruise engine ran out of fuel. Huh? Okay, I've clearly stuffed something up. Guess we go back down to land and fix that. Why do you say you have no fuel? Did I do these the wrong way around? Did these not connect to the things? Maybe they didn't. I think what I've done here is what's known as jumping the gun by removing things before I was ready. Okay, light cruise is connected. So there were a few things that I'm not sure which ones were the actual issues, unfortunately. But it seems like however I'd done the hoses didn't work. So I've removed most of the hoses. But what I think was happening was some of these junctions, like this one here, weren't actually connected to the tank. Unless it's showing that connection, it wasn't working. So I replaced all of these with junctions that did, and now it works. So I think that's my best guess as to what was going on there. Still gonna leave those on there as decorative ones, but worth noting that you probably do need it to show the connection for it to work. So now, back to space, and away we go. Now there was something on the far side of the planet here, so let's see if we can spot my marker. So I've got that marker for the antenna, got another marker for something down there. Whoa, is that another huge ship? Yes it is. It's a large section of a ship. I might check this out, see if this is any different to my wreck. See if there is anything I can explore. Oh, cool bridge. I have a lot to learn about making these things look nice. If you found a way to get something other than scrap from these, let me know, because as far as I'm aware, all we can get is scrap. And right now, given my storage is on the fullish side, I don't think I want to pick up scrap just yet. I think I'd like to try and find some sort of trade station or something like that I can go to. So let's get to space. Maybe head towards that other planet. What other things do we have around here? Got something on the far side. Some sort of marker. I think on the far side over above the rings. How's my fuel looking as we're going? Oh, I'm eating that fuel quite quickly. Can I target that? What is this? LF400 Skybarge KTS Galactic Trade Network. Excellent. Size 2620 by 83. We got a trader. Let's go see if I can get something useful. So you can just press R to cycle through the targets within your view, and then you can change systems within that. Oh, autopilot to location. Hey! You have just arrived at a space station. Press R to select the station, then F to request a landing pad. You can check this help in the menu. Excellent. I'll see what I can sell and see how much it costs me to get fuel, actually, I think is the biggest thing. Welcome to Fueling Depot Theta. Buy fuel. I don't know how much I'm holding. So let's buy 100 cubic meters? That seems like a lot. Okay, let's have a look. Hang on. Where did it go? I got something in my inventory. I assumed it'd just go into my tanks. There's nothing in the cargo. My tank still shows empty, so maybe that's not what I thought in terms of volumes. Let's try this again. Spend most of my money and see what happens. See if I notice my fuel having gone up. Your backpack is overloaded 2,000 and... Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I think I just figured out where my stuff's going. Dear. I didn't check my backpack. I have 35,000 hydrogen in there. How do I put that into a tank? Let's see, can I interact with the tank and put it in? I'm stored 2,100 liters. 2,000 stored. I may have made an error. Can I sell it back? How do I... Oh dear. Oh dear. I have an idea. Let's see if this fluid harvester, in combination with a pipe, can put this into my tanks. Uh-oh. I think I just deleted all my hydrogen. Ah, well. Easy come, easy go. Oh dear. My hydrogen is very, very low now. I've made a terrible, terrible mistake. So I might have wasted a bit of money there, but if you've got any ideas of how else I might have used this, I tried placing it into the tanks by pressing R. That didn't work. I tried directly just dropping it into the tanks. Couldn't access them to do that. I'm not really sure how to handle it when it's in your inventory like that. But if you know a way, that would be great to know. Because, well, I feel like that's a bit of a new person trap otherwise. And it'd be really great to be able to show people how not to waste 35,000 liters of hydrogen like I did. Oh, there's a broadcast. Let's go. Accept rescue. How far away are you? 7,000 kilometers. I have 7 minutes to reach the ship in distress. It is unfortunately in an awkward trajectory. I should have gone a bit around the planet so that I could keep going faster, but I took the direct route, going a bit too close to the gravity well and getting inside the rings, so my light cruise is quite slow for covering this sort of distance. At least I can get me the money back. They all just want my oxygen, but at least it can get me my money back that I lost before from the learning. Let's call it learning. It's totally not a stuff up. It's definitely learning about the hydrogen and ending up with 35 tons of it in my backpack. I think it was something like that. 35,000 liters. 10 liters of oxygen. Done. Hooray! You gonna pay me something? Yeah, money. It's one of the things that I probably should have done at this point, rather than just flying around randomly, was hop in the cockpit and press H for the holo map, so I can get system map, and have a look around. This is going to show me what's around me and what I can get to. So we've got Horizon Station, which is where I probably want to go to, because I was at the fueling depot. I want to probably go to Horizon Station. There's some junk cloud, fueling center there. Starting station. Is that where I want to go instead? That is closer to me. Yeah, let's set that as target. Let's request parking at the station. Welcome to starting station. Request landing pad. Proceed to pad B. Cool. Requested landing, and now we can go in here. And I'm landed. I'm on board the station. I can call the lift. This is a slow lift. Is that somewhere I could have just jetpacked to? I think it is. Could have just jetpacked up here. Of course. Yep. I would do that. What's on this station? I think this goes back out to one of the arms. Oh, no. Shipyard. Oh, lift's arrived. Let's go. Hey, hello. Oh, I can hire you. No. Alright, trading. What can we trade? Okay, so we've got ship dock towed, sell cargo. I could sell a whole bunch of these different things. Most of this stuff doesn't seem to sell for very much. 8 a piece. But I could buy some of this cargo and transfer it to somewhere else that wants to pay more, I suppose. Got the tutorial. Mission board. Here we go. Outpost refueling. Fueling depot theta. Complete the delivery of 4 cubic meters of hydrogen fuel. Current tank is 6. Okay, that's good to know. That's probably somewhere in my vehicle info. I should have looked at that first to see how much actual fuel capacity I have. So that'll give me 10 grand. Or I can emergency refuel. Transferring 3. There's a distress call. What? Whoa, that's so much cheaper. It's much cheaper than the refueling station. I should keep that in mind. Cool, well, with my ship fueled up, I can now try and do maybe some missions, maybe some trading, keep building a bigger ship, and I think what I need to look into is how I might start armoring up the ship and getting some weapons on there, maybe a turret or something, and try and get past the pirate that's in this system, and get to the Stargate. Well, we'll see how much of that I get done next time, and I will see you then.